We're still waiting for the satellite to reach its operational orbit. However, we're excited to report that all 57 of the satellites on today's mission do have sun visors, and all future satellites will be outfitted with these visors as well. It'll take a bit more time for our visor sets to reach their operational orbit, and at that point, we'll see the full results of this effort. Now, today we also wanted to share a few updates on our rideshare program. SpaceX has launched some notable rideshare missions previously, including spaceflight's SSOA mission in December of 2018, and the New Centaur Satu mission in February of 2019 that had a lunar lander on board. Today's Starlink mission marks the second official mission under SpaceX's SmallSat rideshare program, which gives small satellites flexible access to what is now the most flown operational rocket in the United States, Falcon 9. We have over 100 spacecraft slated to fly our rideshare missions, and that number will continue to grow under our multi-launch agreement with today's customer, Spaceflight. Under this agreement, Spaceflight reserves capacity to launch payloads on several SpaceX launches through the end of 2021, and it allows Spaceflight to package multiple payloads onto a single port to reduce costs for their end customer. We have a long working history with Spaceflight and look forward to continuing this partnership into the future.
We're coming up on 4 minutes from liftoff. Falcon 9 moving into the final stages of the countdown. Getting ready for the strong-backed retract there on your screen. The clamp arms around stage 2 are opening up. Momentarily, we will see the strong-back move away about 2 degrees from the rocket. Now, first and second stages are both nearly fully loaded. We've got almost 1 million pounds of kerosene and liquid oxygen on board. Fuel's fully loaded on stage 1 and stage 2. And we are finishing liquid oxygen loading in the last 2 minutes of the countdown. It's that super chilled liquid oxygen that's creating those white clouds that you can see around the Falcon 9 as the bleed gaseous oxygen mixes with that warm, humid Florida air, and that gives you the condensation clouds that you see. Now coming up at T-minus 60 seconds, you'll hear the call out of startup. That means the rocket's flight computers have taken over the Falcon 9 commands for the last minute of the countdown. Inside of two seconds, we light the Merlin 1D engines. We will mix T-Teb, which is our ignition fluid, with liquid oxygen. That begins combustion. We then allow the fuel into the thrust chamber, and the engines come up to power for liftoff at T0. Inside of 3 minutes, we're closing out the liquid oxygen loading on the first stage. Meanwhile, the Starlink and BlackSky payloads continue to be healthy. The Falcon 9 team's tracking no issues on the rocket, the weather's looking good, and the range is green for launch. A moment ago, we heard the call out that stage 1 LOX load was complete. Transport erector has reclined. Next major event will be stage 2 liquid oxygen loading completion.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
We've got stage 2 liquid oxygen loading complete. That means all propellants are fully loaded on the Falcon 9 first and second stages. The chill-in announcement was telling us that we've had enough time with the liquid oxygen running through the Merlin 1D turbopumps to get them down to the necessary temperatures to go into the ignition sequence. Currently, you can see a large white cloud coming off of the strongback. That's normal. At this stage, we are now, having fully loaded all the propellants, we're bleeding back the liquid oxygen in the fuel out of the system so that we're getting a little bit of venting overboard, and that gives you the large white plume, again, as that warm, humid Florida air mixes with the cold gaseous oxygen to give you the clouds.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Call out. Falcon 9's in startup. Flight computers are now running the Falcon 9. We're pressurizing the stages for flight, and we're waiting for the final go.
LD, go for launch.
With that, the SpaceX launch director has confirmed we're go for launch. So as we come up on T-minus 30 seconds, let's listen to the final countdown and watch as Falcon 9 takes our Starlink satellites and BlackSky
30
satellites to orbit.
Stage 1 tanks pressing for flight.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. And liftoff.
M1D propulsion is nominal.
T plus 40 seconds since the launch of Falcon 9. Propulsion is confirmed. Merlin's look nominal. Power and telemetry are confirmed nominal from the avionics engineer. With throttling down right now on the Merlin 1D engines. Preparing for supersonic and max Q.
Mach 1.
Got the call out for Mach 1. We have throttled the Merlins back up to full power. Next event will be maximum dynamic pressure. And there we are. We're going through the thickest portion of the atmosphere at the highest speeds. Now as we continue to accelerate Falcon 9, the air density gets thinner and the loads on the vehicle decrease. A minute 30 seconds, trajectory continues to look good.
Back chill.
Back chill indicates we're now beginning to bleed a little bit of liquid oxygen through the upper stage engine turbo pump to get it ready for ignition, coming up in just about 40 seconds from now. Nice view from the ground camera looking up the long plume coming out of the 9 Merlin 1D engines. Now, major event coming up will be main engine cutoff coming up at just after 2.5 minutes, called MECO. We shut off all the 9 engines. We'll separate the first stage from the second stage, and we will ignite the second stage engine called SES-1, the second stage engine start number 1. Beginning to throttle down.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
And we've
Second
got
stage
successful MVAC full power ignition. The view on the right shows the MVAC engine, the second stage now taking over, carrying the Starlink and BlackSky satellites to orbit. On the left screen, the first stage is continuing without power to coast to apogee, and you can see the large titanium grid fins beginning to open with the lights of the United States in the background as we slowly head up the eastern coast of America. Now, next coming up will be fairing separation. There's a view of the fairing, and we confirm fairing separation. So the Falcon 9 second stage continues at full power, carrying the Starlink and BlackSky satellites to the first of 2 orbits. The first stage is continuing to coast to apogee, and then it will begin to fall back to Earth, and eventually 2 burns to land on the drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. The trajectory right now continues to look right down the middle. Everything's looking good on Falcon 9. So as we come up on 4 minutes, we will remind you that we are attempting to catch and recover both fairing halves now that they've separated on our recovery vessels Ms. Tree and Ms. Chief. If we make a successful catch, we'll try to bring you these views live. Otherwise, check our social media accounts for updates. Right now, 4 minutes, 20 seconds of the mission. All is going well.
While stage 2 is doing its job there on the right, stage 1 is headed back home to Earth. Can't quite see it on the video on the left, but it is doing that, and it will do this by executing a series of 2 burns. The first burn is the entry burn, where 3 of the 9 M1D engines will light up and slow the stage down as it re-enters the upper part of the Earth's atmosphere. The second burn is the landing burn, and this is a single engine burn that brings the vehicle speed down rapidly in order to land on the drone ship. You can see on your screen that the second stage MVAC is still glowing and in the middle of its burn there, carrying our satellites to orbit. So stage 1 entry burn is going to start in just over a minute here at T plus 6 minutes and 21 seconds. Stage 1 is currently navigating home to Earth using both its grid fins, and that small spurt of light that you saw was a nitrogen burst from the attitude control system, which is nitrogen gas that helps to orient and guide the first stage as it heads home. There are 4 grid fins and 4 attitude control thrusters on the inner stage of the rocket. In just about 20 seconds here, we will hear the call out for the start of the stage 1 entry burn. This burn will last 20 seconds. And again, it's a 3-engine burn that will slow the first stage down as it enters the upper parts of the Earth's atmosphere.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
Heard confirmation of the stage 1 entry burn startup. You can see those backlit grid fins with those 3 engines burning there. Again, this burn lasts 20 seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
We've had confirmation of successful stage 1 entry burn, and we're about a minute away from our landing burn. The landing burn will start at T plus 8 minutes, and it is also about 20 seconds long. The landing burn should bring us to our drone ship. Of course, I still love you in the Atlantic Ocean. So we have briefly lost that first stage view, but we should get it back when we get closer to the drone ship. We're about 30 seconds out from the stage 1 landing burn. Again, this is a single engine burn.
Stage 1 transonic.
It's the engine right in the middle. Stage 1 is transonic right now. We're about 10 seconds from landing burn start.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Heard the call out for the start of stage 1 landing burn. You can see the clouds sort of lighting up there.
Start internal guidance.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
Wow, look at that stage 1 sitting on our drone ship. Of course, I still
Stage
love
1
you.
landing.
That was a beautiful view of the stage 1 as it came down there, lighting the clouds up. And in just about 10 seconds here, we'll have second engine cut off there right on your screen.
Seco.
We've had confirmation of
Expected loss of signal, Cape.
second engine cutoff, and we're waiting for confirmation of good orbit out of this first burn here.
Nominal parking orbit insertion.
We're in a nominal orbit, and now we're about to enter a coast phase. So we're going to take a quick break, but we're going to leave you with an animation that shows you where we are in the coast. We'll be back at about T plus 46 minutes and 30 seconds for a second stage relight.
Acquisition of signal, Newfoundland.